And welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, October 9th, 2015. I'm FRASER with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves has expressed his disappointment in the announced strike action to be taken next week Tuesday by teachers and public sector workers across the country. In a statement made today, Prime Minister Gonsalves says the action announced by the Teachers Union and the Public Service Union was ill-advised, and he appealed to all teachers and public sector workers not to withdraw their services on Tuesday. The Prime Minister says the process by which the decision for the strike action was taken by the unions could have been handled differently. He noted that though the government, during conversation with the respective unions, made it clear that they cannot meet their demands for a one-month tax-free salary, the doors of communication should have remained open.
And I in particular, we have had excellent relations with the public servants and the teachers and their unions. And I think that is well known. So I'm disappointed that an action as drastic as this is proposed without a recourse to a further dialogue. Because when we left the last time, they asked me, well, if you can't pay this demand of $25 million, 1 month's salary tax-free, if you can't pay that, can you pay half? I said half is $12.5 million. I can't afford that either. They said, what about a number below that? I said, I have to look at the figures and see what the outturn would be in the next quarter, which would have come to an end in September. They know that I will do my best. And all the teachers and all the public servants and everybody in this country know that Ralph would do his best. After all, this is a Labour government.
According to the Prime Minister, though it may sound easy to give a one-month tax-free salary, in real terms that amounts to an 8.5% salary increase, which is a hefty increase for the government to provide, even if it is a one-off payment.
Look around the world. There's nowhere people getting those increases. Inside of the Caribbean itself, workers are being laid off, public servants and teachers. We're not doing that here. And it is not true that there has been no salary enhancement over the past 4 years, because more than half, almost 60% of the teachers and public servants get an annual increment of between 2 and 2.5% on their salaries. The only people who don't get that increment are those who have reached the top of their scales. And I'm concerned about them. Because it means that if they're at the top of the scale, they would not have had any salary enhancement over the last 4 years. It is no comfort to them that people who are in public assistance, who are worse off than they are, have not had an enhancement on their benefits since 2011 also. I think we always have to put things in balance.
Appealing for understanding, Dr. Gonsalves says teachers and public servants in this country have not done badly under his administration since taking office in 2001, noting that comparatively they have done quite well.
Salaries for teachers and public servants have increased nominally in excess of 70% on an average since 2001. And the real increase after taking account for inflation, is in the order of 40%. How have we had these salary rises? First, through normal salary increases. Secondly, through increments, the annual increments. Thirdly, through the reclassification exercise in 2007, which provided significant increases for most teachers and most public servants. And of course, as you know, before the global economic meltdown, before the major disasters, regularly the government provided one-off bonuses of one size or another.
Dr. Gonsalves says it hurts him to hear of the proposed strike action when he knows that his government has done a lot, especially for teachers and the education system. And President of the Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is accusing some leaders in this country of not having enough backbone. Robinson says that some leaders are more focused on being aligned to entities that do not have the interest of the people they represent at heart. The Teachers Union president says next week's strike action will happen, whether other trade unions want to be a part of the industrial action or not.
Meet with your membership and let them know what is happening, because a lot of them out they have needs, but there's no leadership. People seem to be more interested with their affiliation, their allegiance, more than really standing up objectively and speaking for the workers of the country. It's time that we really give proper leadership in the context of representation. You know, some people want to be a leader here because, oh, I am associated with this or that, and I could be easily spun around and I could divulge information, and you always hear the famous talk about who is sold out and that sort of thing. It's time that we change that. You know? So
you're basically saying there's a need for persons with backbone in leadership?
Yes, backbone, man. You must stand up for what you believe. And I like what Mr. Bunsbonner said, you know. Yes, he has his direct contact with the government and so on and the party. We know that, everybody knows that. And you can't be vexed with him. But he came out and he told the Prime Minister plain what to do.
Robinson also thanked everyone for their support and urged persons not to be intimidated. He says the weapons of trade unionism will be utilized to get justice.
There was a lady who said to me, the SSU would beat you all up. So I say, if we take a strike and we stay home, the SSU is going to come to our homes to beat us up. I know that there would be certain persons in authority who try to intimidate our membership. But anybody try to intimidate you, we have a Facebook page, just put it up there and tell us the names. And we will use the weapons of trade unionism to show them that it's only here in St. Vincent people would behave like that. I know that there are people out there who try to intimidate and threat, but there's no need. That is futile. The stage is where we are going now and the momentum. If you don't have good to say, don't say bad. Okay? And I want to use this opportunity to thank the general public and those of our members, both organizations, for the support that they have given to us, the encouragement, because it's a long, hard battle. We know it's good things don't come easily.
General Secretary of the National Workers' Movement, or the NWM, Noel Jackson, is denying accusations that he is playing both sides of the fence when it comes to the planned strike action announced by the teachers and public service unions. Jackson says he knows where to draw the line when it comes to his personal beliefs and that of the needs of workers.
You can't sit by and assume that because Noel Jackson supports the Labour Party, that Noel Jackson will not speak out against any ill that the Labour Party may do as it relates to workers' rights. Go and research my record. Anyone, go and research my record. My record is there. And I've had persons blowing my trumpet. One of the persons has been the representative for Central Kingstown for the NDP, St. Clair Leacock. When he was at Vinlec, when the NDP was in office, every chance he gets at a meeting, he would indicate how much respect that he has for me, because I know where to draw the line when it comes to my representation for the working people.
The NWM's General Secretary says he has now become an onlooker as to what will transpire with those who protest. He also reiterated that those who accuse him of being partisan in his work as a trade unionist are insulting his integrity.
So to say to me that because I support the Unity Labour Party, I am not capable of sitting down and having dialogue, objective dialogue, with the same Unity Labour Party is an insult to me and an indictment on you, because in truth and in fact you don't have any record, any instance that you can cite to say that I'm like that or I have done that. So at this juncture, my sister, I'm an onlooker. I'm an onlooker in the entire scenario. I wish the workers all the best. I hope that their interest is not jeopardized, and at the end of this scenario that they come out with their dignity intact.
The National Omnibus Association, or NOBA, has called off its planned strike action for next Monday, October 12th. President of NOBA, Anthony Bacchus, said the strike was called off because the government has met all of the organization's demands, which was outlined to them at a meeting held earlier this week. Bacchus says everything has been documented on paper and therefore they have no reason to proceed with the strike action. The list of demands put forward by NOBA to the government include the rehabilitation of a number of roads across the country, as well as the adoption of a proposal by NOBA for a review of the country's transport system. In commemoration of World Food Day, the Ministry of Agriculture yesterday held a ceremony honoring retired agriculture officers. According to the ministry, the 20 honorees have served well as public servants and are deserving of the recognition as they have participated in the process of food security and poverty alleviation. Addressing the gathering at the event held at the Murray Heights Hotel last evening, Chief Agricultural Officer Ashley Cain says it is always important to remember the contribution of individuals in nation building.
So tonight, when we reflect on this honoring, those are the issues, Mr. Chairman, which I want to bring back. Attitude, commitment, hard work, discipline, and a desire to see not only the Ministry of Agriculture go forward, but also to make a difference in the lives of our people. Tonight is a time for us to say thank you to those who have made their contributions, and although they are, or they may be out of the Ministry of Agriculture, they are still an important part of our past and our potential, because I think that if we make errors, Mr. Permanent Secretary Raymond, those persons would come and not be afraid to say, hey, look, I think you've gone wrong there.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Raymond Ryan, in his address, said the ministry is always willing to recognize its past and present performers. He further urged those present to think of the bigger picture as not what the ministry can do for them, but what they can do for the country while working cohesively with others in the ministry.
It is also recognized that we do not have to wait on retirement to provide awards to officers, as continuous hard work should be rewarded continuously. It is for this reason that an objective performance appraisal system needs to be instituted, not to facilitate punitive actions, but to provide the basis for reward to individuals for outstanding work done. This matter will be given further consideration in the near future. We must remember that the Ministry of Agriculture remains fundamental to the development of this nation.
The honorees are Isola Baker, Lauret Ballantyne, Colville Caesar, Idina Dublin, Sithroy Edwards, Brentford Findlay, Randall Franklin, Amos Glasgow, Leslie Grant, Charles Gunsam, Floris Hamilton, Hudson John, Brian Johnson, Castle King, Martin Lavia, Bernice Mason, Teresa Oliver, Hendrik Peters, Reuben Robertson, and Kenley Shallow. In more local news, at a cost of close to $1.8 million, the Beckway Hospital was reconstructed and handed over to the people of the Grenadine Island yesterday. The project, which began in 2013, was financed through a $817,000 grant, with the government providing an additional $250,000 toward the project. The medical complex, designed by Orrin Bennett, is equipped with a dentistry area, emergency section, and canteen, amongst other facilities, with plans to include an operating theater, a recovery room, and a lab. Minister of Health Clayton Burgin says the facility is part of his government's initiative to improve the country's overall health sector. Burgin also thanked the funders and people of Beckway for their patience.
All what you are seeing here is part of a wider plan of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment to have health facilities fully functional throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to have them equipped and staffed to serve the needs of the entire population. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, and by extension the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, has made a firm commitment to modernize the national health sector.
Member of Parliament for the Northern Grenadines, Dr. Godwin, Friday also expressed gratitude to all involved in the realization of the medical facility. He reminded the healthcare workers to ensure that they continue to provide the best healthcare service to all who will come to the facility.
Deliver the care and the service the community expects and needs. However, as you ought to know, this edifice, as beautiful as it is only a building. And healthcare is a service. While a building, or this building, is full of potential and possibilities, it is left for you to do all that you can with the tools at your disposal, whatever they may be, to realize the potential and deliver better healthcare service for our people. Yours is a difficult job. In fact, it is a calling. I believe that anyone who enters the healthcare profession just to get a job will not be the best that he or she can be.
And Portfolio Manager of the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund, or the BNTF project, Darren Newman Belgrave, says the funders are pleased to be a part of a venture that will help to save many lives. She also commended the local persons who ensured that the hospital will be able to cater to the needs of everyone.
Because we understand how much this facility means to the Basic Needs Trust Fund in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We know how much it means to the Caribbean Development Bank's poverty reduction program in the region. And we deliver this through 10 borrowing member countries. As Mr. Douglas said, this is a major half of a wider, grand and positive initiative in health and wellness. And it completes the Port Elizabeth Health Complex. I had the pleasure of touring the clinic about 3 or 4 months ago, and I was really impressed with the maintenance of the facilities, as impressed with the feedback I got from the nurses and the doctors, and even from the patients that sat there and could testify and say that their health needs were improved as a result of the enhanced renovation of this facility.
Project manager of BNTF, Kenneth Douglas, who read a prepared speech on behalf of the chairman, Raymond Ryan, said that in the construction process, they also had to ensure that there was a good water storage system for the hospital.
The delivery room, patient wards, doctors and nurses' offices, consultation room, accident and emergency, and kitchen and dining room were all enlarged. A new dentistry was created downstairs, and the accident and emergency and ambulance drop-off was repositioned to this side of the building rather than the front, which was, you know, was very steep and difficult to get people out of the ambulance. Ventilation was considered, and the roof was raised to allow better flow of air to the building. And the provision of ceiling fans and air-conditioned units in the wards and the offices were also provided. Most importantly, water storage was a prime concern. At the clinic, we had installed 480,000 gallons of water. And at the present location, we have 40,000. So all in all, in this compound, we have about 85,000 gallons of water available.
Tomorrow, Saturday, October 10th, 2015, will be celebrated throughout the world as World Mental Health Day. According to the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, the day offers a special opportunity to focus on mental health as well as to further sensitize Vincentians on mental health issues. Globally, mental disorders continue to increase, contributing significantly to morbidity, disability, and premature mortality. The ministry says it recognizes the need for urgent mental health reform in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a bid to foster dignity in mental health services, and that currently renovative work is being carried out at the Mental Health Center at Villa, which seeks to improve the facility to uphold appropriate standards of care that are comprehensive, equitable, and accessible to all Vincentians. Also, the ministry says emphasis is being placed on shifting the current focus of the public mental health services from the treatment of severe, persistent mental illness to mental health promotion and prevention of mental disorders such as depression, substance-related disorders, child and adolescent psychiatric disorders as well. The ministry also expresses its commitment to achieving its vision, which is to provide a well-coordinated, community-based mental health care system that promotes mental wellness and delivers quality care to those suffering with mental disorders. And earlier today, persons from the Mental Health Center, along with Health Promotion and the Seventh-day Adventist Bookshop, hosted an exhibition under the General Post Office in Kingstown. Eloise Wilkes, an employee at the Mental Health Center temporarily located at Orange Hill, says mental illness is like any other disease. She asked for more public support for mental health patients by giving them love and respect.
Discriminate them, treat them with love and respect. When you see them in the road, do not call them names, because when you call them names, they become agitated. So, as we celebrate World Mental Health Day, we're asking you, the public, to give them your support. If you have a relative at home who is sick with mental illness, we want you to show them love. Give them your support in that when they have to attend the clinic, remind them of their appointments and encourage them to take their treatment.
The Carnival Development Corporation, in conjunction with the National Cultural Foundation and the National Independence Committee, hosted a Master of Ceremony workshop earlier today. In his address at the opening ceremony at the NIS Training Room, Minister of Culture Cecil says over the years there would have been workshops for various personnel, including artists, judges, organizers, and others. However, the training of persons who serve as Master of Ceremonies is one area which has been overlooked, and he's happy to see that that has been corrected.
I want to first of all congratulate all of the entities that came together and discussed and thought it fitting to put on such a workshop this morning. because over the years we would have had workshops for artists, we would have for judges, had for persons organizing shows, but not for MCs. And I think that this is one of the areas that we have really overlooked and understated in terms of the development of culture and the arts.
Mackey notes that a master of ceremonies is required at almost all events or gatherings, hence it is important that MCs received the relevant training as they can make or break an event. Mackey said the workshop is being held at a time when sports, culture and tourism are going to be major pillars in the country's development. He told participants that the training they're going to receive will prepare and equip them to play a leading role in the various events which would come around. The minister urged the organizers to not only establish a pool of MCs but to identify a core of persons who will take the program further, and he believes that the program should be exposed to those in the school system as well as churches.
I want to urge the organizers not only to establish a pool in terms of MCs available to us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but I think it's an opportune time for us to identify a core of persons, 5, how much ever the appropriate number may be, that would take this program from the next 2 days to the next level. Because I think we need to go into the schools, secondary schools, community college, into the communities, into the churches, because very often that is where the talent lies.
Noting that the workshop is a step in the right direction, the Culture Minister advises the organizers to create a schedule for training of MCs on a national level and have assessments done by experienced, established MCs.